it's Melanie. Welcome to my channel. So today we're gonna do part 3 of my Buy More, Save More book outlet haul. So stay tuned. So if you saw part 1 of my Buy More, Save More book outlet haul, then you know that I bought 3 huge boxes of books, and each one of those boxes had over 20 books in it. So I had to split them into 3 different videos because it would just take way too long to do them in 1 or even really 2 videos. So this is part 3, and this is the last box I have right here, and it's huge and heavy, and let's just get into it. This box is packed full. I think this is the one that has the most in it. So we have some paper, though it's squished down pretty flat because there's not a lot of extra room in here. A little bit more paper, and the rest is packed full of books. Okay, so the first book in my box is Teach Me by R.A. Nelson. And this is about a girl named Caroline who ends up having an affair with her English teacher. And there's a blurb on the front here that says, a raw and dazzling portrait of obsession and betrayal. And Holly Black said that. And this was $2.19. Okay, so the next book in here is Losing Faith by Denise Jayden. And this says, when Bree's sister Faith dies suddenly, Bree's world falls apart. As she goes through the bizarre and devastating process of mourning the sister she never understood and barely even liked, everything in her life seems to spiral further and further off course. Her parents are a mess, her friends don't know how to treat her, and her perfect boyfriend suddenly seems anything but. As Bree settles into her new normal, she encounters more questions than closure. Certain facts about the way Faith died just don't add up. Bree soon uncovers a dark and twisted secret about Faith's final night, a secret that puts her own life in danger. And this was 99 cents. Okay, the next book is called There Will Be Lies, and Then There Will Be the Truth by Nick Lake. And it says, there will be 2 lies, then there will be the truth, and that will be the hardest of all. Shelby Jane Cooper is 17. She lives with her mom, a court stenographer, who likes to do cross-stitch and wants to keep Shelby safe. So safe, she barely goes out. So safe, she has never been to school. Safe as a newborn baby. When a car knocks Shelby down, it's the beginning and end of everything. Her mother drags her away from her old life. All she can rely on is the lies she's been told. Without them, who would she be? And there's a blurb here from the Irish Examiner that says, experience the roller coaster of plot twists and turns. And sounded interesting. My guess is there's some kind of like witness protection or something like that. I don't know. They're in hiding or something. That's my guess. Anyway, this was $2.19. Okay, next up is Yolo Juliet by William Shakespeare and Brett Wright. And I actually have a few other of these kind of books, and I absolutely adore them. I think they've all gotten 5 stars so far. They're sort of a, not necessarily retelling because it tells the exact same story, but it tells the story in like text and emojis and emails and like notepad and like Instagram pictures and things like that, tweets on Twitter and things like that. And I love these so much, and they're just fun to read and so funny. Usually they're so funny. Like, you don't realize how funny these things actually can be. And so I now want to have every single one of these because I love them so much. And this was $2.69. Okay, next up is Wicked Games by Sean Olin. And it says, one perfect couple is about to crumble to pieces right before everyone's eyes. Carter has always been a good guy, and while Lila has a troubled past, she's been a loyal girlfriend for the past 4 years. When smart, sexy Jules enters the picture at a senior year bash, Carter doesn't intend to succumb to temptation. He doesn't intend to fall in love. But Carter's best intentions add up to nothing when Lila catches wind of his betrayal and decides that Jules needs to pay. By the end of the summer, the line between right and wrong will be blurred beyond recognition. Blood will be shed. Nothing in Dream Point will ever be the same. Wicked Games is the first book in a sexy thriller series where passion, lies, and revenge collide. And I thought that sounded like a fun little read. And this was $2.19. Okay, next up we have Fierce Reads presents Kisses and Curses. 15 authors, 14 stories, one fierce collection, including New York Times best-selling authors Marissa Meyer, Lee Bardugo, Anne Aguirre, Anna Banks, and Emily Laybourne, Courtney Almeida, Jennifer Albin, Jessica Brody, Katie Finn, Nikki Kelly, Jennifer Matthew, Lish McBride, Cara M. O'Brien, Marie Rutowski, and Lindsay Smith. This says, every page more fierce than the last. Enjoy a good monster love story or a dark Russian-style folktale? How about a flashback to the secrets of a cyborg's past, a post-apocalyptic romance, or a conversation between a boy and Death's dead assistant, while both sit in a diner and eat waffles? Whether you're already a Fierce Reads fan or you're a fan-to-be, this short story collection will satisfy your every bookish craving, featuring multi-genre tales from some of the hottest YA authors around, including all of those people I just said. I'm not going to list them again. By turns uplifting and sad, lighthearted and powerful, startling and laugh out loud, these bite-sized gems have one thing in common. You won't be able to put them down. And I just thought this was really cool. A nice little fun short story collection by a lot of awesome authors. And this was only $2.19. Okay, the next book here is Welcoming Kitchen, 200 Delicious Allergen and Gluten-Free Vegan Recipes by Kim Lutz with Megan Hart. And I actually bought this for Becca because she wants to start trying to eat more vegan. So I thought I would get her a little cookbook because I'm sure it won't be long before she's moving out on her own and we'll need her own little cookbook to get started. And this was $4.29. Okay, next up is Gorgeous by Rachel Vale. And this turns out to be the second book in the Avery Sisters trilogy. And I don't have the first book yet, so I'll have to get that. I actually thought this was a standalone when I purchased it. Each book is, I guess, about a different one of the sisters. And this one's about Allison Avery and her phone is possessed. And the first one, which is called Lucky, I've pulled up on Goodreads here. It says, it's all good, and lucky Phoebe Avery plans to celebrate by throwing an end-of-the-year bash with her 4 closest friends. Everything will be perfect, from the guest list to the fashion photographer to the engraved invitations. The only thing left to do is find the perfect dress. Until Phoebe goes from having it all to hiding all she's lost. Phoebe's older sisters warn her to keep the family's crisis totally secret. Unfortunately, her alpha girl best friend looks increasingly suspicious, and Phoebe's crush starts sending seriously mixed signals. Phoebe tries hard to keep smiling, but when her mother is humiliated in Neiman Marcus while buying Phoebe that perfect dress, and her father decides to cancel her party, she panics. How far will she go to keep her image as a lucky girl? With Lucky, Rachel Vale begins a powerful sisterhood trilogy comprised of 1 book for each of the 3 fascinating Avery sisters, with all their secrets laid bare during the year that completely changes their lives. Phoebe is the youngest. Her story combines first love and flip-flops, friendship and sisterhood, humor and tears. Breezy, witty, and poignant, Lucky is Rachel Vale at her breathtaking best. And Allison is the middle child, and she's fiery, sarcastic, and just plain fun. And then the last book is called Brilliant, and it's about Quinn Avery, who's the oldest, and she's smart, calm, and responsible. So that's what these are about. I just have to get the other two now. This was $1.19. Okay, so the next book here is a book I got for Xander, and this is Black Widow Red Vengeance, and it has an exclusive Red Widow comic inside, and this is by Margaret Stoll. And, you know, I don't know that I really could get into Marvel books. I love the Marvel movies, but I don't know if I'd want to read the Marvel books. So I'm not really into the Marvel comics. So this was more of a thing I thought Xander would really enjoy because he does like that kind of thing. Though I see now on the back it says this is the sequel to Black Widow Forever Red, which they also have on Book Outlet, but I didn't get both of them because I didn't realize they went in a certain order. Otherwise I would have gotten the other one. So I guess I'm gonna have to get the other one too. But this one was $3.19. And a whole lot bigger than I thought it was going to be. But here's the a little sneak peek of the comic. Okay, next is Fragments by Dan Wells, and this is book 2 of the Partials sequence. And I have Partials here, so I'm going to grab that and I will tell you what it says. Okay, so here's Partials. This says, the human race is all but extinct after a war with partials. Engineered organic beings identical to humans has decimated the population, reduced to only tens of thousands of RM, a weaponized virus to which only a fraction of humanity is immune. The survivors in North America have huddled together on Long Island while the partials have mysteriously retreated. The threat of the partials is still imminent, but worse, no baby has been born immune to RM in more than a decade. Our time is running out. Kira, a 16-year-old medic in training, is on the front lines of this battle. Seeing RM ravage the community while mandatory pregnancy laws have pushed what's left of humanity to the brink of civil war. She's not content to stand by and watch, but as she makes a desperate decision to save the last of her race, she will find that the survival of humans and partials alike rests in her attempts to uncover the connections between them, connections that humanity has forgotten, or perhaps never even knew were there. Dan Wells, acclaimed author of I Am Not a Serial Killer, takes readers on a pulse-pounding journey into a world where the very concept of what it means to be human is in question, one where our humanity is both our greatest liability and our only hope for survival. So that is what Partials is about, and then I got Fragments from Book Outlet, and this was $4.29. Okay, next up is The Accidental Bestseller. Who knew the truth would make such great fiction? By Wendy Wax. And this says, life doesn't stop, not even for writer's block. Once upon a time, 4 aspiring authors met at a writer's conference. 10 years later, they're still friends, veterans of the dog-eat-dog New York publishing world. Mallory St. James is a workaholic whose novels support her and her husband's lavish lifestyle. Tanya Mason juggles 2 jobs, 2 kids, and a difficult mother. Frey Truitt is the wife of a famous televangelist and the author of best-selling inspirational romances. No one would ever guess her explosive secret. Kendall Ames's once promising career is on the skids, as is her marriage. Her sales have fallen, her new editor can barely feign interest in her work, and her husband is cheating. Under pressure to meet her next deadline, Kendall holes up in a mountain cabin to confront a blank page and a blanker future. But her friends won't let her face this struggle by herself. They collaborate on a novel none of them could write alone, using their own lives as fodder, assuming no one will discover the truth behind their words. No one is more surprised than they are when the book becomes a runaway bestseller. But with success comes scrutiny and scandal. Now all bets are off as four best friends suddenly realize how little they truly know about each other. And I thought this sounded really good. I'm super excited about this one. It also seems like another great summer read. And this was $3.19. Okay, next up is Looking Inside by Beth Keary. And it says never before published. And this is just a hot, steamy, romance, erotic kind of book. And it's about a girl who sees a guy in the high rise across the way and she just can't stop fantasizing about him. But she's also like a really shy wallflower kind of person. And he, on the other hand, has never had a problem finding someone for a little fun. But he wants something more substantial. And she has to find the courage to make her presence known to him, and neither of them are truly ready for what follows. Okay, next up is Dating You, Hating You by Christina Lauren. And this says, everyone knows that all's fair in love and war, but these two will learn that sabotage is a dish best served naked. Despite the odds against them from an embarrassing meet awkward at a mutual friend's Halloween party, Carter and Evie immediately hit it off. Even the realization that they're both high-powered agents at competing firms in Hollywood isn't enough to squash the fire. But when their two agencies merge, causing the pair to vie for the same position, all bets are off. What could have been a beautiful, blossoming romance turns into an all-out war of sabotage. Carter and Evie are both 30-something professionals, so why can't they act like it? Whether these two Hollywood love-hate birds get the storybook Hollywood ending or just a dramedy of epic proportions, you get to enjoy Christina Lauren's heartfelt, hilarious story of romance in the modern world. This seemed like a fun love-hate, battle it out kind of book, and I just thought it sounded cute. This was $4.79. Okay, next up is Scythe by Neil Shusterman. And I've heard a lot of really good things about this, and it came up on Book Outlet, and I wasn't really sure if I wanted to get it or not, but I just kept hearing so many good things about it that, well, I had to check it out. And I was able to get it cheap on Book Outlet, so why not? So this is the first book in the Arc of the Scythe series, and it says, Thou shalt kill. A world with no hunger, no disease, no war, no misery. Humanity has conquered all those things, and has even conquered death. Now scythes are the only ones who can end life, and they are commanded to do so in order to keep the size of the population under control. Citra and Rowan are chosen to apprentice to a scythe, a role that neither wants. These teens must master the art of taking life, knowing that the consequence of failure could mean losing their own. They learn living in a perfect world comes only with a heavy price. And we'll see. I don't know. I'm not entirely sure how I feel about this, but I have a feeling that it's going to end up surprising me. It didn't sound like super interesting, but then everybody that's read it is like, it's so good. And this was only $4.29. Okay, next up is When You Were Mine by Rebecca Surley. And this is sort of a Romeo and Juliet retelling where they got it wrong, and Romeo and Juliet wasn't the great love story in that whole story. The real love story is with Rosalie, and Juliet, being her best friend, has stolen her man. And I love a good retelling, so. And this was $2.19. Okay, next up is Right of Way by Lauren Barnholt. And I didn't realize when I got it that this is actually a companion novel to Two-Way Street. So I pulled that up on Goodreads, and I'll tell you about Two-Way Street. It says, there are two sides to every breakup. This is Jordan and Courtney, totally in love, sure, They were an unlikely high school couple, but they clicked. It worked. They're even going to the same college and driving cross country together for orientation. Then Jordan dumps Courtney for a girl he met on the internet. It's too late to change plans, so the road trip is on. Courtney's heartbroken, but figures she can tough it out for a few days. La la la, this is Courtney pretending not to care. But in a strange twist, Jordan cares. A lot. Turns out he's got a secret or two that he's not telling Courtney, and it has everything to do with why they broke up, why they can't get back together, and how, in spite of it all, this couple is destined for each other. And this one talks about Peyton and Jace meeting on vacation, and I'm guessing they're people in the other book, and how their relationship forms. And this is 219. Okay, next up is Make Me, the complete novel by Beth Curie. And this says, available for the first time as a complete novel, the serial from the New York Times bestselling author of When I'm With You that explores hidden pasts, dangerous obsessions, and uncontrollable passion. Harper McFadden established herself as an investigative journalist by being both compassionate and fearless. After tragedy strikes her family, she moves to the shores of Lake Tahoe to find some peace. But when mysterious software mogul Jacob Latimer enters her life, her thoughts turn from her own healing to an insatiable desire to get closer to him. No one knows what secrets lurk in the past of Jacob Latimer. He built his corporation from nothing, but rumors abound about his mysterious rise to power. Harper is the last person he should let into his life. She could expose the truth about his origins, but Jacob knows things about Harper's past that draw him in. He wants nothing more than to make her his, and Jacob is a man who always gets what he wants. And I don't know how many books are in this, but this is a hefty little book. It says for mature audience. And this was $4.79. Okay, next up is Fault Line by C. Desser. Who do you blame? So this is about a couple named Ben and Annie. And Ben could date any girl that he wants. But he's immediately drawn to the new girl who's funny and sarcastic and just this free spirit. And her name is Annie. And lucky for Ben, Annie likes Ben too. And she's everything he wants and everything he could possibly imagine wanting. But all of that changes on the night that Annie goes to a party that Ben misses. Now Annie's not the girl that she used to be, and Ben can't seem to sort out the truth from the lies. He wants to know what really happened and who exactly is to blame. And Ben just really wants to help Annie, and she refuses the help. And the more that she pushes him away, the more he wonders if there's anything that he can do to save this girl. And this was $1.19. Okay, next up we have a totally awkward love story by Tom Ellen and Lucy Iveson. And I really just fell in love with this cover. I love it so much. This is actually a scratch and dent one, so I got it for a pretty good deal. And the only thing wrong is that the jacket is torn a little bit, like right there. It's the only thing I see that's wrong with it. And this says, the summer before college, Hannah swears she's finally going to find the one. And for 5 perfect minutes, Hannah does find him. In the master bathroom at a house party, of all places. He's cute, makes her laugh like crazy, and agrees that air kisses are for snobs. She just wishes she'd caught his name, because Toilet Bowl Cinderella really lacked sex appeal. For Sam, the summer is off to a bad start. He bombed his French final, and he's got 0 girl prospects. But for 5 minutes, his luck changed. 5 minutes with some strange and hilarious girl in a fancy purple restroom, and Sam is head over heels. Of course, he doesn't know her name. With his luck, he'll never see her again, and he'll remain a girlfriendless, moony-eyed virgin forever. Another chance meeting brings them together, only to have a misunderstanding drive them apart. And then the cycle starts all over again. Madcap mishaps, raunchy hilarity, and deep romance follow these two wherever they go. For two people so clearly destined for each other, they sure have a hell of a lot of trouble getting together. Maybe their love is based on an Austen novel after all. And it sounded so cute, and really the cover sold me. And because this was scratch and dent, I got it for $1.99. Okay, the next two books here are Volume 1 and Volume 2 of the 7 Deadly Sins series. And Volume 1 has 2 books, Lust and Envy. And Volume 2 has 2 books as well, Pride and Wrath. And this is by Robin Wasserman. The Lust and Envy one is Volume 1, so I'll read you what this one says. Not everyone can get what they want, but that doesn't mean they won't try. Adam and Beth are the golden couple of Haven High. He's the all-American jock, she's blonde perfection, and everyone loves them. Well, almost everyone. Harper has had her eyes on Adam for ages, and Kane wants to get his hands on Beth. But neither can figure out how to make their desires reality. So they team up with a new girl, Kaya. She's hot, she's devilish, and she has the perfect plan to get Harper and Kane exactly what they want. But Kaya wants something too, and she's willing to do whatever it takes to get it. Commit them all. And these are huge. Okay, so Volume 1 was $2.19 and Volume 2 was $4.29. Stack's getting very wobbly here. Okay, next up is Behind the Curtain by Beth Curie. And this says, there's something about this woman. On a break between overseas jobs, journalist Asher Gates returns to his hometown of Chicago and allows his friends to persuade him to check out a hot new singer. At a downtown jazz club, he's soon transfixed by the lyrical voice and sinuous body of a woman who performs behind a thin, shimmering veil that could bring a man to his knees. The veil gives Moroccan-American Layla Barrick the anonymity she needs, since she has never been able to reconcile her family's values with her passion for music. But one man is inexplicably drawn to her, and when Asher confronts her on a subway platform after a gig, he's shocked to recognize the woman who walked away from him 9 years ago. Layla has never been able to forget the touch, the feel, the taste of Asher, and despite the doubt and fear that wind their way into their lives, they must trust the heat of their desire to burn down the walls the world has placed between them. And just sounded like another hot, steamy read. And this was $4.79. Okay, next up is How to Fall by Jane Casey, A Summer of Secrets, Lies, and Deception. And this is about a girl named Jess Tennant who's never met any of her relatives until one summer her mom drags her out of London and takes her to this small English town where when she arrives, everybody looks at her like they've seen a ghost because, well, they kind of have. Jess looks just like her cousin Freya, who died shortly before Jess and her mother arrived. Jess immediately feels this connection with Freya, even though she's never met her. But the more Jess learns about the secrets that Freya was keeping, the more suspicious Freya's death seems. And this was $2.19. Okay, next we've got Hot Pterodactyl Boyfriend, Everybody Wants One, by Alan Cummian. And well, the title sounded ridiculous to me, and that was a big reason why I got it. And it just sounded kind of funny. This says, when Pike, the first interspecies transfer student, quite literally lands at Vista View High, the entire school freaks out. Even Shields, who is always the most prepared. She's student body chair. She has to know everything. Like, oh, by the way, a teenage pterodactyl is starting school with you. What? You see, Shields is what you would lovingly call a control freak. focused, prepared, always one step ahead, even when it comes to her boyfriend, Sheldon. The universe is unfolding as planned until Pike shows up. He's mysterious, primal, he's popular, already dating the school's track star, but there's something about him. The Shields can't stay away, even if Sheldon gets lost in the shadows, even if it means risking everything she's worked for. Who are you anyway, when your world cracks without warning? To find her true self, first, Shields must lose everything. And it just sounded kind of cute. And, I mean, she ends up with a pterodactyl boyfriend. It's a pretty yellow and pink book. And this was $1.79. Okay, next up we have Emancipated by M.G. Reyes. And this says, the bad boy, the good girl, the diva, the hustler, the rocker, and the nerd. 6 teens legally liberated from parental control for 6 different reasons, but all with one thing in common, something to hide. Secret number 1, not everyone is who they seem. Now they're sharing a house in Venice Beach, acting like a family and living their lives. One witnessed a crime, another might be a murderer, and one's been spying on them all. Secret 2, freedom isn't free. As they cling to a fantasy of freedom and slowly let down their guard, the past creeps up on them, and when one of them gets arrested, everyone's carefully constructed facade comes crumbling down. Secret number 3, the truth will come out. Emancipated is the first book in a blistering guessing game of a series where relationships are tested and worlds collide. And I actually thought that sounded really, really good. It says, scandal, romance, treachery, and murder all under one roof, and no one to clean up their messes. And this was $3.19. Okay, the last 2 books in this box, I think this is a duology. We have Now That You're Here and While You Were Gone by Amy K. Nichols. And this is the Duplexity duology, I believe. So these are like, this is what happens in one universe and this is what happens in the parallel universe. So in Now That You're Here, it says chaos theory is founded on 2 principles. 1, every system has an underlying order regardless of its complexity. And 2, even the smallest variance in a system can result in complex and seemingly unrelated behaviors or events. A butterfly in the Congo flaps its wings and causes rain to fall in Belgium. A boy shows up by my door and shatters everything I understand of the universe and my place in it. It says, Danny and Evie are meant to be together, just not in this universe. Evie Solomon has high school down to a science. Get the grades, get the recommendations, get into the Ivy League college, and eventually land a killer job at NASA. Then Danny Ogden enters the equation. Danny is a street-smart graffiti artist. He's always managed to stay out of serious trouble, but this time he's out of luck. One minute he's running from the cops, and the next he jolts awake in an unfamiliar body, his own, but different. Somehow he's crossed into a parallel universe. Now his friends are his enemies, his parents are long dead, and cool-headed Evie is not the brazen girl he once kissed back home. Then again, this Evie may be his only hope of getting home. Evie tells herself she's only helping him in the name of quantum physics, but there's something undeniably fascinating about this boy from another dimension, a boy who makes her question who she is and who she might be in another place and time. And it actually says a little thing about this one. It says, coming soon, Duplexity Part 2, While You Were Gone. This thrilling companion novel tells the story of the alternate Danny and the alternate Evie living in Danny's parallel world. And I thought that sounded really interesting. Now That You're Here was only $1.19. While You Were Gone was also $1.19. So in this box, I had 27 books. Actually, if you count some of the books having more than one book in that book, I don't know, I had over 30 that way. But solid books, I had 27 of these. So for all 27 books, this was $75.63. And because of the buy more, save more sale, if you spent $75 or more, you would get $20 off. So I spent $75.63. So I got $20 off, which brought it down to $55.63. And then I used $20 in rewards, which brought me down to $35.63. So 27 books for $35.63. That comes out to being about $1.32 a book. I mean, that's pretty awesome. That was quite a deal, and I gotta love those big sales that they have. So have you read any of these books? If so, did you like them? Did you not? Comment down below and let me know. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give me a big thumbs up. If you'd like to see more videos like this, click that subscribe button down below. And until next time,